But because it's California, all the actors are there. Everybody came to my show. Who's the guy? Rick James came all the time. Arsenio Hall came and brought Eddie Murphy. My idol is standing here watching me on Venice Beach. Lawrence Fishburne used to come every weekend. Them boys that work together. Ben Affleck and what's his partner? Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. They would come because they hadn't become stars yet, and they lived in Venice. They would come and sit and watch. I mean, everybody came to see my show, bro. And so did all the directors. So people would start giving me movies. You got to come audition for this. You got to come audition. I was out there only 2 months when they gave me my first movie, which was Hollywood Shuffle. Robert Townsend put me in a movie. I didn't have but one line. My line was, no, it's a muffler. Okay, but they gave me $1,004, and I joined the Screen Actors Guild. So I don't know what they talking about. There's no such thing as a small part. In fact, I remember my scene. I was in it with Damon Wayans, myself, and one other actor. We were supposed to be the FBI. And we jumped out the car, and there was a little box underneath the car, and they said, look, I think that's a bomb. My only line, no, it's a muffler. Oh, my God. That got me into the business. Because of that, I was able to do movies, and just movies kept coming, TV shows came, but I stayed on that beach for almost 5 years, and then I did Star Search. I got to tell you the Star Search story.
Yeah, when was that?
I tell people as actors, as comedians, you got to always bring your A game, no matter how many people are in the room. A lot of artists make the mistake of doing a lesser show if they don't have what they consider the perfect audience. That's a huge mistake. Anybody who is sitting down watching you is your perfect audience. You don't need no more than that. You perform for them because you don't know who's in the room. Sometimes it don't be but 11 people in the room, but you don't need but one person who can write that check. And so there's a guy named Pat Sajak. He has a show called Wheel of Fortune. Is that what it's called? Wheel of Fortune? Where they spin the wheel and shit?
Yeah,
okay, Wheel of Fortune. But they gave him a late night show like Johnny Carson. He had his own late night show. It lasted about 4 months. But he had his own late night show, and I auditioned for that at the Improv. It had to be totally clean in 3 minutes, and I sizzled it. But he didn't like me at all. But before I could leave the building, the executive producer of Star Search just happened to be sitting in that room. So he ran out and grabbed my arm. I almost chopped him in the neck. You know, he grabbed my arm, little short white guy. And I said, what's up? He said, you want to be on Star Search? I said, man, look, I auditioned 3 times. He said, look, you want to be on Star Search or not? I said, yes, sir. He said, you're on Star Search. And like that got me in. And so I went, of course, 1 Star Search, won $100,000, gave half to the homeless, and then I went right back to the beach and did 4 more years telling jokes and passing my hat. But all along that time, people just kept coming and giving me a movie here, a TV show there, hiring me here, because I was out there with everybody, white, black, young, old, straight, gay, Asian, Hispanic, you named it. Some people didn't even speak English, some people didn't speak at all. And they surrounded me and would stay there for an hour because of the energy. Even if they didn't hear the joke, my movement, playing with people, my energy kept them wrapped up. And then I collect that money paper. Man, that paper was good. I'd be filling up sacks. That's how I came across my addiction, which was crack. I'm a crackhead. So I did crack for 23 years. And as of March 1st, I'll have 16 years of pure sobriety. But I started smoking crack because I think Robin Harris said it best. Cocaine is God's way of saying you making too much damn money. Okay, so I had all this money. I didn't owe nobody nothing. I had a little small room. I was living in a room and rooming with a roomer. So I didn't have nothing but money and idle time. And one day I said, what happens if I take this rock and drop it on this hot piece of glass? Okay, and then 23 years later, I found myself trying to dig myself out of that hole, you know. But yeah, that's what got me to there. That's what got me to Venice. And the rest, people just come to me, give me opportunities, but I always hustle and grind. I never take the audience for granted. I never take people for granted. I understand what I bring to the table, and I bring it with excellence. I'm the best at what I do. And if they don't want me, I don't take that personal. If they take another artist, I don't take that personal because I know who I am.
So my question is, when you were on drugs, like how did it affect you as a man and as a stand-up? It did it.
As a man, it fucked up a lot of stuff. As a stand-up, it didn't affect me at all because I was a functioning addict. Although I was dysfunctional, I was a functioning addict. I never got high before work. I never went to work high. I wouldn't do no shit like that. No, I love what my craft is. I respect what that is. I don't do that. But I couldn't wait to get off work and get my ass over there and go get me fat that next rock. And I wasn't one of them frantic, crawl around the floor butt naked looking for a rock addicts. I was an addict who saved my money and made the amount I wanted to get high. Like, if I was getting high, I was doing $100. I wasn't doing $100 then another $100. I wasn't doing all that, you know. I would get high till that little money ran out, and then of course I would do what most addicts do. I feel terrible about myself. Once I get through getting high, I'm out of dope. Now I start thinking about what my real life is. Now I feel sorry. I feel mad. I done spent money. I can't tell you how many relationships and friendships and opportunities I blew because a lot of times you be out there fucked up, and you think you don't even want to think you know you high. Everybody get high could look at a person who gets high and tell if they high or not. You know, so I didn't even know. I go into some places sweating like R. Kelly in the playground, and they know it ain't even hot. I'm sitting here just sweating and shit, trying to audition. Oh, I lost a lot of work, a lot of opportunities, and most importantly, I lost a lot of people's respect because they knew what I was doing, but they didn't really know. They can only guess from looking at me because you didn't know I was getting high unless you was getting high with me or unless you sold that shit to me. Because I wasn't out in the street like that. I wasn't like that. So I was a functional addict. I think I was blessed. I think God protected me long enough for me to get myself together.
So I'm trying to figure out how you were able to do that and then be Showboat, because that was one of
I love
you
that
and Bernie
role.
Mac in that movie, bro.
I love that role. I loved Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac was one of my heroes.
Did y'all come up together in Chicago?
No, but we were both in Chicago, and we both started doing comedy around the same time. But I didn't really know him. He was ahead of me. He was ahead of me in his sharpness. Like, he used to do a room that was in a basement in downtown Chicago, and this nigga had background dancers. I ain't never heard of a comedian with background dancers. The Bernie Mac, the Macettes would come out and dance while he was on stage. I ain't never seen no shit. He was like Vegas. He was always sharp and the most confident artist I think I've ever seen. He was nothing but confidence. He knew he was shit. And not with an arrogance about it. He just knew who he was, man. So he knew he was gonna blow it up every place he went. He's the reason I was on Def Jam, because I didn't even know Def Jam was coming. He went to them and said, "You doing this show? You shouldn't do this show without Michael Colyar." And that got me on. And I did so well. I ended up doing 6 seasons and hosting one. That was Bernie Mac. And when I got my own show on BET Live from LA, I called on all the kings of comedy, but he's the one who actually came. He's the one who came to the show. Mike. He was sitting on my show congratulating me and lifting me up. It wasn't about him. You know, it was about me. That's how he was with everybody. Like, Bernie Mac wasn't going to the clubs afterward. He wasn't going to chase the girls and smoking joints and shit. He called his wife. He went home, got some red beans and rice and cornbread, and went to his home and laid on his bed and talked to his wife, man. He was the standard to look at. No, he was a cold brother, Bernie Mac, man. We miss him. I don't know why the great ones die young, you know. And, I started Comedy Act Theater with them on day one. So it was Keenan Wayans, Damon Wayans, of course, the great Robin Harris. Me and him fought, and me, and it was somebody Ann Johnson. What's her name? Something Ann Johnson.
The one that played in
Yeah, with the one leg, and I'm gonna get you, sucker. And she's hopping around with just the one leg. She was supposed to be a hooker or something, but she had one leg.
I was thinking about what's the
Anne Marie. That's right,
yeah.
Anne Marie Johnson. Oh, wonderful. She went on to be president of Screen Actors Guild. She's a cold sister, and her boyfriend then was Rusty Condiff.